إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره نعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله تعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أعاذنا الله وإياكم من النار. My dear respected brothers and sisters, just to recall from last week, I've talked about the story of the people of the cave. And I mentioned the importance of the Surah of Al-Kahf and how much rewarding it is to read it every Friday. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أم حسبتم أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in Surah Al-Kahf, do you think that the people of the cave and the people of Ar-Raqim, translated to as inscription, Imam Ibn Kathir in his tafsir, he mentioned that Ar-Raqim, the inscription, it means that from the statement from Sa'id ibn Jubayr, Ibn Abbas and Anas ibn Malik, Ibn Abbas said it's a book. Ar-Raqim means book, inscription. Sa'id ibn Jubayr, he said it's the book that was made out of the stone, and then the story of the people of the Raqim was written on it, this stone, and then it was left there, subhanAllah, by a miracle of Allah in front of the cave where they were. Allahu A'lam. Allah knows best. All we have to know and understand is that Ar-Raqim means the inscription. The story of the people of the Raqim wasn't mentioned in the Quran. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Oh my Sahaba, do you want me to tell you the story of the people of the Raqim?" The hadith was narrated by Nu'man ibn Bashir and Anas ibn Malik and Ibn Abbas and Ibn Umar. And the hadith is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim also. So the Sahaba said, "Oh, okay, Ya Rasulullah, tell us the story of the people of the Raqim." So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, there were 3 men before you. They were climbing up a mountain, and all of a sudden it started to rain heavily. The 3 men decided to enter a cave, or al-ghar. Al-ghar in Arabic means a hole. Small hole. We say the mouse hide in a ghar. The cave can be bigger than a ghar. Anyway, they went there, they entered, and they hide. It was raining very heavily. All of a sudden, a big rock came down, and it closed the entrance to the ghar, to the cave. So they got locked inside, in the darkness. Those 3 men, the only thing they had is their iman, is their faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as every Muslim should have. One of them, he said, there is nothing that can help us here except our dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with our very good deeds. Scholars call this al-wasila. To have a reason to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with making dua using His names and attributes. You can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by making dua with your deed that you remember you've done before. This is what they chose to do. The first person say, "Oh Allah, you knew I had my parents. There was a night where my children were very hungry. And they were crying right next to me. And I had this jar of milk. And my parents were laying on bed sleeping. I stood up all night carrying that milk, waiting for my parents to get up in the morning so I can give them the milk. And oh Allah, you know how my children were crying in front of me because of his parents' obedience. And the importance of parents' obedience in Islam, I talked about it a couple of weeks ago, if you remember. The key to enter the Jannah is birrul walidain, is to obey your parents. That is your key to enter the Jannah. So he said, "Oh Allah, if you know and you know that I did this in your sake, oh Allah, help us from this situation." The rock moved a little bit, but they still couldn't get out. The second man raised his hand and said, "Oh Allah, you knew I had a cousin who I loved very much, more than a man loves a woman. Oh Allah, you knew that she needed me one time because she was poor and she needed money. So she came to me and asked me for money, but I asked her to commit the haram with her if she wants the money." So he said, "Oh Allah, and you knew that I was going to commit the haram." And he was looking at her face. And she looked at him and she said, "O servant of Allah, don't do this except if you want to do it for the halal." She told him, "Fear Allah." In that situation, it's very hard to control yourself. Only the pious servant of Allah will do this. Now, these three types of people that I mentioned at the end, that there are no three of them out there. Very, very hard. And I will tell you why. So he jumped and he said, "Astaghfirullah." And he said, "Oh Allah, you knew that I did this in your sake. And oh Allah, you know what's in my heart. And you know my intention. My intention and my niyyah and my ikhlas. Oh Allah, you knew that I did this in your sake. Please help us from this tough situation." The rock moved a little bit, but they still couldn't get out. The third person, which I believe and I think is the hardest one, said, "Oh Allah, you knew I had employees. And one of them, it was a payday. So he paid all the employees. One of the men, he paid him with some of rice or corn. And he said, 'No, I don't want that. I worked the double, so I want more.' But he left. He didn't get his paid. Years later, this man come back. This pious servant of Allah, what he did, he used this rice and this corn as an investment to make money. But not to make money for him. To make money for this person who were absent, who left. The person who didn't get his pay. So he come back and he said, "I remember that you haven't paid me a couple of years ago." So he looked at him and he said, "Do you see all this corn? Do you see all this crops? Do you see all this cattle? This is not my money. This is your money. This is your wealth." He looked at him and he said, "You are not joking with me. I need my pay." He said, "Wallah, this is your wealth. I used it from that pay that you didn't want, and he invested in the sake of Allah for you, and I didn't take a penny from it. So he took everything and he didn't take one penny, the other guy. Oh Allah, if you knew I did this in your sake, please help us from this situation. The rock moved and they left. Now subhanAllah, this story is a very, very touching story. When you are in a harsh situation, when you're having a difficulty, what do you do to solve the problem? Immediately do you think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or do you think about something else that can help you from the situation, either financially or connection? Look at these three pious servants of Allah, similar to the story of the people of the cave. They were not wealthy. They were good servants of Allah. They had the complete trust in Allah. They had the sincerity. The sincerity. That is the most important thing in our deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْكَافِرُونَ. Worship Allah with sincerity, even if the disbelievers hate it, because they don't worship Allah with the sincerity. The Muslims are supposed to worship Allah with complete sincerity. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, لا يدخل الجنة أحدكم بعمله. قالوا ولو أنت يا رسول الله قال ولو أنا إلا أن يتغمدني الله برحمته. Our Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no one will enter the Jannah with his deeds. No one will enter the Jannah with his deeds. The companions, may Allah be pleased of them, say, oh Rasulullah, even you. He said, even me, only if Allah blesses me. Only with Allah's blessing, only with Allah's mercy, we will enter the Jannah. Do not think that you fast a lot, or you pray a lot, or you read the Quran a lot, or you name it, what good deeds you do, that you enter the Jannah because of these deeds that you do. But yes, we cannot confuse the two. We are going to enter the Jannah with our deeds, yes. But do not think or forget about the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how many times I mentioned in my khutbah that there are two things that we have to know in our life. That we have to combine our Islamic life, which is al-khawf wa-raja. The fear and the hope. Please remember this. Put it in your heart. That's what life, this life and the hereafter will be about. The fear and the hope. Do you truly fear your Lord? Do you truly do what He tells you to do in the Quran? And with the tongue of His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam following His Sunnah also? Do you hope for the good? We all hoping to enter the Jannah. All of us. But Aisha, she used to look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam during night time. And she used to cry because his feet were swollen and red, standing up all night, reciting Al-Baqarah and Al-Nisa and Al-Imran in one rak'ah. And he's crying, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he's tearing. And that is why he always tells them, if you truly know what I know, and hear what I hear, you would laugh just a little bit, but you would cry a lot. And you will never have sexual interaction with your wives. You never think about that. If you know what I know and hear what I hear, you will cry a lot. And you will laugh just a little bit. Because sallallahu alayhi wa sallam In many of the ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned